A lot of people are getting you on that Freemasonry thing too, like
Yeah, I
blowing up
wonder.
left, right. Like it's big news. You've been saying.
Somebody mentioned Alona Nava to me. I've heard his story. Interesting. He was, I mean, I guess he has a few tattoos or whatever from when he was about Shiva. I think he was in a rock band for a little while. He's famous. He's the guy in the middle picture here.
Yeah, with the extra long beard.
Yeah. So he became famous because of his death experience. He died. He went up to heaven and he saw all the rabbis. And that's, I think, what made him famous. The guy speaks very well. I think he teaches in. He
What's
teaches
his name?
Rabbi Alona Nava.
Oh, I've seen his videos.
Yeah, I think he teaches in Shari Bina and Sfat, which is, I believe, no, it's not a Lubavitcher yeshiva, but it's a whatever. It's an Orthodox girls' school. But anyways, he has a whole series on Masonry and the Erev Rav.
Okay.
Interesting how an Orthodox rabbi, and I haven't heard too many people make this connection, but he is a big conspiracy theory guy. So he makes a connection between the Erev Rav and Masons, that the Erev Rav are a handful of people who control the world. They are Masons. He teaches that Masonry was founded by Nimrod, and that the Erev Rav exists nowadays, not as how Yaron Reuven calls anyone who dislikes the Erev Rav, but the elite that control the world, who are Masons. And Erev Rav is, I guess, a code word for them. Now,
Isn't this what a lot of critics? A lot of critics say the same things about Jews.
oh, right, right. There are a lot of Jews involved in Freemasonry. Most people don't know that in Israel, there are many Freemasons. Not many, but there's a few lodges. In Hebrew, Freemason is Boneh Hofshi.
Chinam. If it's chafshi, then it wouldn't get a lot of people. In Israel, if it's chinam, like free, like it's free, it doesn't cost money, then you get a lot of members.
But that's just what it's called. So he ties it to the builders of the Tower of Babel. Hard to believe that someone with so many subscribers, and he has more subscribers than Yaron Reuven and probably Rabbi Mizrahi himself, teaches such, I mean, I like to say nonsense. We're still dealing with religion here to a certain extent, but something it's on the level of Alex Jones and InfoWars. And I'm a conservative, but this whole conspiracy theory stuff that a handful of people run the world. And anyways, you guys should listen to his lectures. I encourage people to listen to things that disagree with what I teach, right? At least you can learn what not to do and how to respond and try to dismember their ideology.
Are you telling me you're not an InfoWars fan?
I am not an InfoWars fan. I mean, I know Alex Jones. I was in DC 3 times in the last 3 times, and he was there. We were hanging out with his crew, but I'm not a fan of. I'm more of a Dennis Prager guy. I like rational politics and reasonable politics. Anyways, in the same lecture, I think it's a 4-part series called the Erev Rav, and there's a picture of, I think, a pyramid, and then it's really about Masonry. He basically breaks down everything I say on this show regarding why the biggest obstacle to people converting in Judaism is Kabbalah. And he brought down the whole notion that why converts are problematic, because whenever someone comes to convert nowadays, they're a potential Erev Rav, they're a potential, I guess, Nazi.
You can't convert Nazis?
They're inherently evil. That means that even though they could go through the motions, right? One example he brings down is Moshe Rabbeinu converting the Erev Rav, that God in some way told him not to convert the Erev Rav. Of course, this appears nowhere in the Torah. There's a Medrash that says this, and I think the Medrash is pretty recent. I mean, it appears in the Zohar, but Rashi mentions it as well. But there's another Medrash that teaches the opposite, that the Erev Rav were the best and the finest of Mitzrayim, and they saw the bells and whistles and also chose to leave. He brings on the notion that Gentiles, or in this case, Erev Rav, we don't know unless we put them through a rigorous conversion program. They come from the Sitra Achra, from the unclean klipot. I mean, all this stuff that I've been saying for a while, people are saying, no, Kabbalah has nothing to do with how people treat converts nowadays. This is why the average person who believes in these ideas is not so quick to accept someone just because they say they're sincere. No, we have to make sure they're not part of the Erev Rav. And I think this hurts us as a people, thinking that the notion of intrinsic worth actually exists, right? There's no one on this planet who's intrinsically special. And that's what you're saying by saying that there's a group that's inherently evil. If there's a group that's inherently evil, then anyone who doesn't belong to that group is inherently special or superior to that. So what you're saying is that there are superior beings and lesser beings inherently. They're born like this. It's has nothing to do with free will, especially if their soul comes from the Sitra Achra. It ultimately hurts the religion. I would love to have a discussion with this guy and just really.
I guess I kind of want to understand this whole Erev Rav thing from like their perspective, because like, I mean, if you're trying to say that the idea that you could convert into Erev Rav like today is kind of interesting to me, but also to think that the Erev Rav are inherently bad when Moses was the one who converted them. Like you're saying that Moses made this huge mistake and like.
But the Torah doesn't say that Moses converted them.
Not converted. He he let them join, I guess.
According to the Medrash.
What does it say in the Torah?
No, the Torah says nothing about Moses and the Erev Rav. It mentions the Erev Rav, but not necessarily that Moses allowed them to come or had anything to do with Moses. They were bundled in with the Hebrews, right? The Medrash teaches that Moshe Rabbeinu took it upon himself to convert them, and then God warned him not to. This is why Rashi brings on the Medrash that your nation is building the golden calf, i.e., enter the Medrash that teaches that he converted them. There is no hint in the Torah to this, right? Now, there's Midrashim that say the opposite. I do know why they choose that one, because people need a scapegoat, and it can't be your own people, because I guess being Jewish by definition means that you never have to say you're sorry or never have to take the blame for anything. So we have the Erev Rav, and I mean, you guys already know it's not just a Jewish thing. There's many conspiracy people who believe that Masons run the world, and Masons don't deny it because, I don't know, I guess it gets chicks or whatever. All the intrigue, this and that. It's really a bunch of guys who just put their money together to sponsor little league teams and stuff like that.
How do you prove you're a Freemason? You have a card or something?
Yes. You get a dues card when you pay your dues. There was an app that they came out with a couple years ago that you could pay your dues on that. And when you go to certain lodges, they scan the card that app will give you, or they'll test you. But a simple fact that it's a secret society.
I mean, if you're just trying to pick up chicks, though, that might work.
Right. I'm not the biggest proponent of Freemasonry. I think it's a good idea. I think when people get together with a goal of doing good, right? I mean, these people aren't, I guess, apart from what Rabbi Alona Nava teaches, they're not trying to make things worse. They're philanthropists, just like the Rotary Club, the Elks Club, the Knights of Columbus, right?
Wow. Yeah, so I had a question about the Freemasons. Are they that big, like in Asia and the Arab world, or is it? They say they run the world. Are they out there too, in those other parts of the world, or no?
There aren't any lodges in Muslim countries that I'm aware of, but I know that in Israel, many of the lodges are Arab lodges, but Islam doesn't tolerate it. In other words, I don't think you're allowed to be a Mason as a religious Muslim. But I know in Akko, for example,
you can be an Arab without being a Muslim, right? Obviously.
Right. But they still don't tolerate like the structure in the Arab world, like a lodge. So they may exist in secret. In America, it's very welcoming. Outside of America, it's very exclusive. It's if you go to a lodge in any other country, you're going to be sitting alongside diplomats and politicians and this and that.
So you could become one here and go somewhere else and become important.
Right. The thing is, it's quick to get your degrees here. It takes forever in other countries. For example, become a Scottish Rite. Jews become Scottish Rite because the York Rite involves Christianity. The York Rite makes you take an oath to Jesus. So Jews and Muslims go Scottish Rite, which doesn't require that. So that in another country will take you 8 years to just get your foot in the door into the Scottish Rite, because that is what gets you higher up in degrees. For example, I'm a Scottish Rite, so I'm a 32nd degree. It took me 1 year in America. Here, it's very welcoming. It's very easy to move up. But anyway,
why not just create a Jewish equivalent of that, like the Catholics did with the Knights of Columbus?
The reason the Catholics did it is because the Catholic Church doesn't allow Catholics to become Masons, not because of paganism or anything like that. It's because
I thought Masons didn't allow Catholics.
It's both. It's because Catholics believe in confessionals and they can't keep secrets. That means they have to tell everything to their priests. So by definition, it would exclude them.
I just got on. This guy looks awesome. Asher Meza bootleg Korach.
Bro, I thought he was on the freaking show when I just logged on. I was like, no, his Hebrew is like the worst Hebrew I've ever heard in my life. I cannot listen to that.
It's worse than mine. Mine's pretty bad.
No, bro, it's like worse than anybody's.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you why Christians typically don't need the Masons, because they're very charitable to people who aren't necessarily Christian. They go around the world and they build hospitals and stuff like that. Orthodox Jews do not do that. Orthodox Jews really don't take care of anyone who's not Jewish. So to create a Jewish equivalent of ultimately a secular organization, I mean, that's what Masons are. The lodge is not a religious place, although there's a lot of religious symbols.
I think it's Hashgacha Pratis. You know, I was Googling them earlier and thinking about what you said about how I should go join them. So
I don't think I told you to go join them.
No, you did. I was in the car.
I think I said to go look it up.
Oh, I was in the car with you and you told me to go to one of their meetings. So.
That was probably after a few beers. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, fair.
Okay.
Now let's stop right here because I was going to ask who was driving.
It's essentially a secular organization with a lot of religious symbolism. And when I say religious symbolism, is biblical symbolism, right? The whole lodge is modeled after the temple, right? The worshipful master is Solomon. Now, worshipful master doesn't mean you're worshiping any master, right? In Israel, the worshipful master is called the Nasi Gadol. It just means, it's really more what it means in Hebrew. Worshipful means like someone you serve, right? I mean, he's the head for that year because they have a different worshipful master for that lodge every year. And master just means that he's like the boss, right? But there's other stations. But anyways, for those who just joined, I was mentioning how Rabbi Alona Nava, which is the guy right here in the middle between Rabbi Aaron and Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, right, has a whole Erev Rav series where he says that the Erev Rav are the Masons. They were founded by Nimrod, and they're essentially a secret society that controls the world behind the scenes. And this guy, he has a very big following, bigger than mine. And people take him seriously, and the guy is teaching this stuff. So let's look him up.
Impressive.
I heard him say that Bill Gates is a woman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said that in one of his videos. He slipped that in there. He said Michael Jackson's a pedophile and Bill Gates is a woman.
And Melinda is what?
So we explained that in length in previous videos, but there's an evil regime that is controlling the world, whether it seems clear or not. I mean, there's the front line that looks like governments and all sorts of humanitarian organizations and non-for-profits. But the point is that on the top of the pyramid are sitting a group of people and they're running the world. And everything is one big show to manipulate, to trick, to lie, all for the sake of controlling the world. Now, I know to many it sounds like, okay, you're talking like a fairy tale of the people from Dora Falaga, of course, built the Tower of Babylon, all was managed, controlled, and manipulated by Nimrod, who wanted to go against the master of the universe, and nothing changed really. These are really the beginning of the Freemasons. A group of people led by Nimrod, and the Torah is saying that. It's not that I'm taking it off some...
The Torah is saying it. The Torah is saying it.
A conspiracy theory website on YouTube. This is said in the Torah, that there was an individual, Nimrod.
Of course, the Torah said that Nimrod was the founder of Freemasonry.
He went against the master of the universe. He created a whole
What's up, Rabbi
party
Asher?
with him that went against...
Hey, so I have a comment on this topic. I actually...
Is this iPhone 4?
No one knows who you are. You have to do iPhone 4.
This is iPhone 4.
Oh, iPhone 4, okay. So I actually agree with what he's saying. Okay. And I also believe that the Torah gives us some clues. You know, when you read the story of the Tower of Babel, you know, and you of course you'd have to read between the lines, but it does give you pretty clear information. It says, you know, they let us make brick and mortar, you know, and let us make a name for ourselves. And I know the story
so that means masonry. Yep.
Yeah. See, Freemasonry is coded in, you know, the actual Mason trade. You know, if anyone has gone in a court of law before, behind the judge on the wall, oftentimes you'll see a Masonic saying, but to the average person, you would never think it was a Masonic saying. It goes something like, "We who labor here seek only truth." So that's a Masonic saying. The average person thinks, "Oh, they want the truth," meaning, they want justice. They want the person who is the victim to be vindicated in the end. But it has nothing to do with that. So when you see
wait, hold on. Let's attack this point by point. First, you said that you believe in the notion that the builders of the Tower of Babel was the beginning of Freemasonry.
100%, because let's see their objective. What was their objective? Their objective was not to build a tower to reach into heaven as though somehow they can, become gods simply because they were climbing so high.
Right, it says you have to fight God.
Yeah, right, but that's not what it's saying. What it's saying is, because we obviously know. Look, the Empire State Building is pretty tall. The Twin Towers were pretty tall. I mean, no one standing on the roof is conversing with God. Like, when you're in an airplane, you're pretty high, and I don't know anyone to this day says, "Oh, I saw God." So what it's saying is, if you labor in your craft of science and you understand the sciences, your pursuit to be immortal is perfected. The idea is to somehow achieve immortality without God's help.
Okay.
The way you do that. Hold on a second.
Let me chime in. This is like a whole pill.
No, let me finish. Let me finish my point. And what you see is, you see the beginning of a works salvation philosophy. It's a philosophy that be all that you can be the best that you can at what you do, and because of your labor, you will achieve perfection. That's the quest. The quest is perfection. It's a civil religion.
Understood. So let me respond. It's hard to believe, being the role that the Bible plays within Freemasonry. You take a vow on the Bible. You cannot become a Freemason if you're an atheist. Everything, all the figures in Freemasonry, I'm not saying the modern guys like Albert Pike,
Hiram
Abiff, Hiram Abiff, even
that.
John the Baptist and John the Revelator. From a Christian perspective, it's solely built on the Bible. The worshipful master, just let me finish my point here. The worshipful master is sitting in the place of King Solomon. On top of him, there's the G with the square compass, ultimately referring to God.
It doesn't mean God. It means geometry. Sacred geometry is what it means. Or it means, actually, when you really understand what it means generation.
Are
it
you
means through procreation? Through. Hang on one second. Through procreation,
you have to respond to what I just said.
No, I am. But
no, it sounds like you're still peddling
that's like
the conspiracy theory. But I'm telling you what actually happens.
No. Hold on a second. What you're talking about is the legend of Hiram Abiff and all of that. You can go find those books on Amazon. What the world understands about Freemasonry is what Freemasonry allows the world to understand about itself.
Okay, but you need some proof.
If that weren't the case, it wouldn't be a secret society.
What's the highest stature within Freemasonry?
It's an elected position. It's a 33. It's a 33rd degree, which is an honorary position.
But you could only get the 33rd degree by first attaining all the previous degrees, i.e., becoming a Templar Knight. That means a guardian of the temple.
Yeah, but look, if you're in an Islamic lodge, you swear on the Quran. If you're in a Jewish lodge, you can swear on the Torah. If you're on a Catholic lodge,
can you swear on the Kabbalah?
Wait. So there are no Catholics in Masonry, but that within any lodge, you can choose to swear off of your religious book. Okay.
Could I swear off of just the Gemara, not the Bible?
I mean, it would have to be something biblically based.
The Gemara is biblically.
You see, when you say God,
if you're
it's such a generic term. It's such a generic term. You're like saying all you have to do is believe in God. It's like all roads lead to Rome.
I understand, but it doesn't.
All the world religions are basically the same.
But it doesn't claim to be a religious organization, but it clearly takes its values from the Bible. Everything you've mentioned is all conspiracy theory. You're saying what they want you to see is this, but what they really do is that. But there's no proof. It's just hearsay, right? And they peddle that.
It's not, because you as a Mason, as a traveling man, you swear an allegiance to your fellow brother. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, you of course,
to come to their distress.
Right. Of course. So automatically you have shown that there is a difference between the average man and yourself and a fellow brother. That in of itself shows there's a problem with justice in your world, because
it's essentially a fraternity in any club that you're in. Clearly,
that's
even
the
amongst
problem
religion.
with clubs in general. But that's the whole thing. That's the problem. I'm talking about all.
So then there's a problem in the Torah. The Torah tells you to treat your brother, your actual neighbor, differently than the outsider. And I'm all for that.
Right, because we're talking about a theocracy. I agree. I admit. I'm telling you 100% that the Torah demands your allegiance to Hashem. Whereas Freemasonry likes to purport that, oh, no, we just want to make average men better. We want to take, good men and make them great men.
So by definition, if they consider
everyone
you a
else
Mason,
is basically cattle.
They hold you on a higher echelon, but they should view you like that because that's what they bring to the table. If not, why become a Mason if it's not there to help you, right? It's
only there to help Masons. No, it's not there to help the average man.
But nobody's born a Mason. People become Masons. So that means anyone could become a Mason.
But why would I want to? Why would I want to become a Mason and become part of a group that views itself better than the average man and somehow exploits the average man for the greater good of our
real quick, Rabbi Asher, isn't there another group that's a Mason group, and they put up a bunch of hospitals and stuff? It's older.
Yeah, the Shriners.
Right. Oh, well, also Scottish Rite, they have hospitals. With this notion that they only hurt humanity is nonsense.
I'm not saying they don't hurt humanity, but what I'm saying is that the idea that circulated in the public is that they're this great fraternal organization that they want to do is help people. It's not genuine and it's not sincere. If they would just say who they are, like all of these secret groups, I mean, there's all kinds of.
But they say it all the time. They say not just a man, a Mason. That means by entering the fraternity and going to this individual moral training of character building and squaring your life, just like a square and a compass, that means that you're distinguishing yourself from everyone around you. The world is separated by people who try to better themselves and people who don't. You're saying that there shouldn't be a distinction made?
No. What I'm saying is, why is it done in secret? If it's an altruistic,
it's not done.
Here's the thing. It
is not done in secret, by the way. Just the rituals are done in secret, but it's not the rituals that make you a better person. It's the mentorship, going there, talking to older guys.
Exactly. It's them saying, I'm going to help you because you're one of us. And that's
because you chose to become one of us. Just like we invite people for Shabbat because they've chosen to leave their life of sin behind. It's all about leaving your past and running towards your possible future in any endeavor, whether it's university, whether it's going to a church or going to a synagogue. There's people who don't do crap with their life. And there's people out there who war against their lazy, sinful, carnal nature and try to do something with their lives. And you're saying, no, the playing field should be completely level?
No, what I'm saying is the first issue that I take with Freemasonry is that it requires me to take an oath that is against the principles laid out in the Torah, as my loyalty should be to Hashem and only to Hashem. That's the greatest thing I have against Freemasonry, the Boy Scouts, and the Boy Scouts and all of these, your fraternities in college. They're just gateways where you're being groomed for the possibility of later becoming a Mason.
But the Torah has the same message.
How about the
wait, hold on.
Proud Boy Scouts?
We'll get into that, which is a very similar for fraternity. But the notion of V'ahavta l'orecha kamocha, God says to love your neighbor as yourself. Masonry doesn't say that. Masonry doesn't say take care of your fraternal brother like you would take care of himself. No, you take a vow or an oath to take care of the needs of a Mason in distress, not to in some way share your wealth with other Masons by definition. But if someone's hurting, there's a hierarchy with who you help.
Listen, Masons, and believe me, I it's not like I've got my information from reading.
You have a chip on your shoulder.
No,
because it's not rational.
He's a Mason. He's a Mason.
I just have to expose Masonry for what it is. And if you want to become a Mason, it's your life. It's your
what is it? That's the thing.
You can go ahead.
Saying that it's exclusive is not saying anything. It's a club. It's a private organization. Of course, it's going to view itself as exclusive.
Exactly, but it purports to not be a religion when it is a religion. It's a civil religion.
Oh, the fact that civil religion. Well, then anything is a religion. Atheism is a religion too.
Yes, okay. Absolutely.
So what's the problem?
Because unlike all of the other religions of the world, the Torah is different. That's what sets it apart from everything.
It's not warring. It's elevating the Torah. It's making.
No, it's not. It's perverting the Torah. It's perverting the Torah. It's taking the Torah, and unless you understand the Torah, you're going to say, "Oh, wow, they're mentioning characters in the Bible. It must be from the Bible. It must be kosher." No, listen. If I wanted to sell you a fake wanted to sell you a fake Rolex, I'm not going to show you one that's made of plastic. I'm going to show you one that's cast in gold.
But that's your assumption that it's fake. I mean, what makes it fake? How is it different from any other club?
What I'm simply saying is, it purports itself to be something it's not. If it just came out and said, "This is who we are," it's like saying this. When there are people that are gangsters, and they let you know they're gangsters. And then there's people that walk around and they wear kippot and tzitzit, and they're part of the Jewish mafia. But they want everybody to think that they're holy, religious, nice people. That's the difference. I respect the gangster that lets you know he's a gangster, and I have absolutely no respect for the person that's disguising himself.
I do not see the correlation.
He doesn't let you. So Masons walk around, and the Shriners walk around, and they say, "Oh, look at the hospitals we build." Do you know how much money is laundered by, well, you're not going to say it because this is your fraternity, but I know hundreds of millions of drug money, cartel money is laundered through Freemasonry.
How do you know that?
That's another story. But there are huge
So you're speaking about something
of laundering money
that only you have inside information about.
Not only me. It's not only me.
Okay.
It is what it is, and that's fine. But the whole notion of trying to make it as a kosher institution, it's not okay. That's not okay. So if you want to be a Mason, you want to look out for other Masons,
let me speak.
But don't sit there and say, "Oh, Masons are kosher, this, that, and the other," because there's such a conflict with being a Torah Jew and becoming a Mason.
All right,
and
so
the fact that
it's my turn to speak.
Just
let me speak.
Crazy.
Okay, let me speak. And you're getting very emotional. Okay, like by the simple fact that you acknowledge that the average Freemason doesn't know the inner workings of the society, it's hard to paint the average Freemason as someone lying to the public. So you would acknowledge that the average Freemason is actually there for character building. He's there to build hospitals, right? You're saying that there's...
The average Mason, so you asked me a question, the average Mason doesn't go past the Blue Lodge. That's it. He travels up to them, and he does it. Why? Because someone from work approached him, and it's usually, it's not about building character. It's about social networking. That's what it's about. These are professionals. They're college graduates. They're not people that need to know the difference between right and wrong. It's all about social networking. That's what it is, especially in the military. If you're in the military, and you want to excel in the military and you want to climb the ladder, you'll become a Mason. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, but those ideas aren't mutually exclusive. Okay, that you could be into trying to network socially and still at the same time try to build character. That's how you build character, by interacting with other people who have something to share with you. Like,
so give me an example. Give me an example, because we use this phraseology, building character. Listen, when I was a young boy, I knew the difference between right and wrong. I didn't have to wait till I became a Mason in order for someone to tell me what's right and wrong.
Here it came out. It just came out there.
No, he's not.
No, I'm giving an example. I'm giving an example. I'll
give you an example.
Yes, that's what I want to hear.
Okay, all right. I always encourage young men who didn't grow up with role models, male role models in the household to perhaps consider becoming Masons, because you're going to be exposed to mature men, people who've done something with their life, who can fill that void in their life. Now,
in what way are they helping them?
In the same way that the Boy Scouts help people, in the same way that the Boys and Girls Club help people, they get men who perhaps had to learn things the hard way, interacting with these young guys, trying to get them to learn by the sake of hearing, not by the sake of making mistakes over and over again. That's clear and reasonable.
Right.
Okay?
So I'll translate that into practical reality. They take men who know the difference between right and wrong, and they say, look, I'm going to help make you successful by grooming you, by opening doors that would never be opened for you, because we have that ability to do that. That's what they do.
For sure, that's what they do. But that's part of character building as well.
It has nothing to do with character.
Money.
It has nothing to do with character.
Of course it has to do with character.
Character building is what you learn in the Torah. Character building is what you learn in the Torah, where it says, you know what? Even if your enemy is donkey,
so I disagree. I think that
hole,
men need other men to ultimately, like you said, groom them. This notion that people could figure out how to be a man and responsible and a good husband and a good father just by picking up a Bible, I think it's nonsense. They need role models in their life.
Well, I differ. Okay, I think the Torah is the only thing you need. I think the Torah is it. And that's why so many religions copy it. That's why so many.
This is why if someone's crappy and they become religious, their religion resembles that lifestyle that they brought into that religion. However,
they become a crappy religious person.
Yeah, but if someone has good values, were instructed correctly by good men in their life, then they have something to bring into religion, and that religion actually makes them better men, right? It's there to make men better.
I think it's the religion that's crappy.
Okay, all right.
I think it's the religion that's crappy, because look,
so
if
that's
you stick with what the Torah is saying, that's one thing. But now, if you start reading, let's take for instance Judaism. You start reading the Zohar, and then you get all of these mystical notions and ideas, and then there's no more black and white. Everything is a shade of gray. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's
so then why congregate as a religious person then? Like if there's nothing, why congregate as a religious person if there's ultimately nothing to learn from other religious people? Like we could learn to be ethical by reading the Bible alone. We don't need example. Like we don't need men.
The reason why you stay together is support. You know, you stay together. One of the reasons why you stay together as a people is for support. Look, Israel, Hashem gave
moral
Israel
support?
a whole land. You know, when you go to Israel, one of the beauties when you go to Israel is you can walk around and eat freely. You know, I can't tell you how many times I go to a festival or I'm walking in the mall and they have all of these farmers markets and there's all this great food. Can't eat anything. Well, in Israel, you see, it was designed to be self-contained. You don't need the outside world for anything, really. You're self-contained. So when you're in a community, and you live in a community, you have kosher supermarkets. If you have a problem, you go to a friend that understands, lives a kosher life. You can lean on them. They can give you support.
All that plays a role in character building. Are you saying that there's no actual distinction between a young man who goes into the military, gets shaped by a bunch of other men to be responsible, to save money, to be a good husband, to be a good father, but like versus one kid who just skips the military and goes straight into college and just plays video games his whole life because he doesn't really surround himself with masculine guys who are going to kind of, I don't know, like kick him in the ass and say, get your act together.
No, I'm not discounting that at all. Remember what I said. I don't have a problem with that.
That character building is ultimately a farce. You could learn everything.
I didn't say that at all. What I said was
you didn't use those words, but you said I said Freemasonry with the Bible alone. The Bible's on.
You correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying Freemasonry is a place where they make good men better, and they build character. They do all of these things. And what I'm simply saying is that you can find all of that in the Torah. In fact, I'll go as far as to say that they took these practices and these principles and they absorbed them into Freemasonry,
but they don't deny
and they're
that.
Using them. That's what I'm saying. But what
you swear on the Bible, you kneel at an altar, a religious. I mean, What are you even talking about? They never claim to try to reinvent the wheel ethically. They
what
claim
they
that their
don't do,
values come from the Bible.
Yes, I'm not. Remember, I didn't say anything about what they tell the world. What I'm talking about is the part of who they are that they don't disclose is my issue. My contention is not with all of the good that they do.
Okay.
Anybody who wants to do good is great. But my contention is with all of the things that they
to be
do,
accurate,
they
you did
don't
say
want
that you had a
anybody to
problem. To be accurate, you did say that you have a problem with them claiming to be good because ultimately you don't need them to help you be good. The Bible could do that alone.
No, okay. I said the contention I have is the way they present themselves to the public as only a altruistic fraternal organization that seeks to do only good for humanity.
Okay.
And that's not true. They seek to do only good for themselves.
But that's information that you claim to have. There's no proof of any of that.
I told you.
I would like to see it.
So again, you're telling me that a brother is going to treat the average man the same. If there's a job, there's only one job position. There's two people who need the job. Who do you give the job to?
To my friend.
And I know. You know, and I know. That's a problem.
It's not a problem.
How can it not be a problem?
If someone was in the military,
you're separating the world. You're separating the world between those that are in the club and out of the club, and that's
because
not
the
way
club
the
is
Torah
there to make you more ethical.
The Torah sees it. The Torah sees humanity as humanity.
You're gonna
and what makes you?
You're gonna have to let me talk. Like you're ranting this whole time and not letting me speak.
No, that's not true. Actually, that's not true. You don't like it. No, you don't like it because I'm making valid points and you're cutting me off.
Okay, people are listening, and I'm sure they would acknowledge that you're speaking at least twice as much as I'm allowed to speak.
No, every time you give a rebuttal, you say things that I said that I didn't say, and that's not fair. Because then it takes time for me to clarify.
All right, I'm fine.
Wait, so were you a Mason or no?
That's neither here nor there. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
I don't matter.
It's yes.
Listen,
it's yes.
No.
I don't matter.
Yes, it's yes.
You have a problem with everyone going on a date. They present themselves to be someone they are not. Everyone
exactly.
Going on a date.
Exactly. Just
wait,
who you are.
No, wait, hold on. But that's not a good comparison because that's on the personal level. This is a fraternal organization. You're saying that there is some consensus among all the Grand Lodges because basically every Grand Lodge of every state is independent. Yes, they pay allegiance to the Great Lodge in England, but the Grand Lodge of Florida is not communicating with the Grand Lodge of Utah and conspiring in some way to do evil secretly, right? That's what you're claiming. Right.
No,
now, when someone
see how you say conspiring to do evil. I didn't say conspiring to do the evil. What I'm simply, again, whether it's evil or not, that's subjective. We'd have to sit down and talk about. We'd have to define what is evil. What I'm simply saying is they've divided the world into us and them, and that's not kosher.
That is kosher because they claim allegiance to a higher power. That's why it's kosher. The Bible tells you to do that. I was in the military. If someone came to my job looking for work and he was in my same unit, he was also in the infantry, I would assume that he's paid a greater price than someone who just plays video games all day. Is that wrong?
That's different. Why? Because you're talking about.
Why is that different?
I'll tell you why. Because he served our country. No, he served our country, and every single person in this country should not have a problem with that. You put your life on the line for me and my freedom, I'm going to let you have the job, and I'll look for another one. That's what every decent American should do because that's the right thing to do. Okay. I'm simply saying is
not everyone is able to become a Mason.
If I'm a Jew, right, and there's a Muslim brother, okay, I have to view him in a way different than a Jew who's not a Mason. And that's something that's an impossibility in my world. I don't care if a Jew is a Mason or not a Mason. I have
say it
to
again.
see him.
I don't understand what you just said. Go ahead.
Masons.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're a Hindu. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian. If you're a Jew, Muslim, you're a Mason. First and foremost, yes or no?
It's a club. No. Okay.
Yes or no?
Because it's a club that claims to be more ethical than any other club, that means they strive to character build, then of course they should assume that they have better values, that they have something to bring to the table.
Okay. So the answer is yes, you do. Where, as far as I am concerned, and the Torah is concerned, if it's between a Mason, that's a Muslim, let's say, and a Jewish person who's not a Mason, he's a kosher Jew, my allegiance is to that kosher Jew, first and foremost. And in Freemasonry, it doesn't work that way. See, and that's an example, a primary example
exactly
of what
like
is
that.
the problem. Because now what I've done is I've
exactly how it works.
Hashem. I've overruled Hashem.
No,
Hashem says you have to look out for each other first. For us, call Israel first, not Mason or non-Mason. Forget about all of that.
So, in my opinion, God separates the world between the ethical and the unethical. The understanding is that if someone devotes his life to Torah and toils in the work of God, that he is more ethical than someone who does not. Now, if you have an organization that teaches biblical values, claims to help you build character, and someone comes out of that organization. Now, this organization doesn't accept everyone. You have to strive. You have to show up every day, memorize things. You can't have a criminal record. Hold on one second, right? Why is it wrong to assume that this individual, because he has the titles, he has the documentation, is someone who deserves the help more than someone who brings nothing to the table, who says, I play video games all day, I smoke weed all day? You're saying just
but that's not the example I'm giving. That's not
the example you're saying.
No, you're inserting a straw man. I didn't say anything about a person playing video games. Okay. I simply said, as far as the Torah is concerned, the Torah says very, very clear. The world is separated between those in covenant and those out of covenant. That's it. That's the world. You're either in covenant with God or you're out of covenant. Forget about Jew,
within the Torah world,
right? Exactly. So if and that's the only world. That's the only world. There is no other world.
All right,
it's
so I
that world. Well, I know, and that's my contention with it. That's my contention. So
that's our disagreement.
That's our disagreement. Is that you have divided loyalties. Where me as a Jew, my allegiance is to Kol Israel. That's my allegiance. Whereas if you're a Mason, you have a problem with your allegiance to Hashem because you are forced.
So if someone joins the military, is it wrong that they pledge allegiance to a flag and acknowledge that they submit to a chain of command? Right. Well, they're showing that their allegiance is to that chain of command and to the flag of the United States. Is that an irreconcilable difference to someone saying that their allegiance is to God? No, you can have both, correct? You can be a loyal serviceman and also a loyal Jew or a loyal Christian. You're saying, no. Your allegiance can only be to God.
You can't to a point, because if that nation that I've signed up to serve in the capacity as a soldier would require me to do something against a Torah principle, I wouldn't do it, and I would suffer the consequences.
Okay,
that's the difference.
Okay,
it's all about your loyalty.
I'm sure that you would have the same attitude if your religion told you to do something that you were uncomfortable with, right? You just
wouldn't do it. I would have to do it because this is what I had to do.
Then. That's not okay. So that's not how I function.
But we're not talking about how.
So you're telling me you agree with every chok?
It's not a question about. That's why I said I don't matter. Pretend my name is Bob. Right. It's just a discussion.
We have to change the subject. We already see where we differ. Okay, that's it.
Right.
I mean, we differ. That's it. I think that someone could be a proud Jew, specifically, and at the same time a proud American, a proud Mason, a proud infantryman, a proud mailman. You're saying no, your allegiance has to only ally with the Torah. No,
yes.
Okay. All right, I disagree.
Yes. That's where our difference is. The whole conversation for the past 20 minutes, it got down to that.
This is why I'm a member of many clubs. Many clubs.
You're a member of Sterling Men's.
Hold on. I'm kind of curious now about this. The other opinion now. So are you saying that it's identity that is the issue? It's not about action, or
it's about allegiance. who your allegiance is.
Yeah, but you said that the allegiance has to be.
Your allegiance ultimately has to be to Hashem.
All right, so that's a Jehovah's Witness argument. This is why they don't salute the flag, because you're only supposed to salute, God, like from their perspective. This is why Quakers don't salute the flag and they don't join the military. Okay, well, I know that
they should be kicked out of the country. They should be kicked out of the country because this country is giving refuge to Jews. You know, when Jews were exiled in Babylon, Yirmiyahu told them, he said, go with them. Go, don't fight Nebuchadnezzar. Go with them, and you're going to prosper in Babylon. Don't worry. Babel is going to be good.
I'm in Babylon right now. I'm in Babylon, Long Island.
Yeah, that's right. There is a Babylon, Long Island.
Yeah, I'm actually authoring my own commentary on the Mishnah here, and I'm going to call it Talmud Bavli.
That's good.
And NYC.
Yeah, thank you. I came up with it the other night. Jack didn't find it funny.
Okay. I don't want to repeat the same points over and over again.
It just sounds like at the end of the day,
we'll let other people talk.
Right, but let me just close with this. It just sounds like at the end of the day, you create your own religion because you're basically deciding what you want to observe, what you like, what you don't like, and that's
every Jewish person does that.
No, I know to a certain extent, yes.
Every Jewish person does that,
and that's a major problem when you view the Torah as a book of laws with a little narrative, instead of seeing the Torah as a narrative that contains some laws.
All right,
that's the danger.
That's
you
fine.
Just extract the laws, and you're like the narrative doesn't work.
As long as you don't think I'm inconsistent, that's it.
No,
I'm very consistent. I'm to the point that I'm a proud boy. That means this organization. I also that would treat a proud
you're a
boy
rabbi
differently.
And you're a proud boy, and you're Hispanic.
And I belong to a motorcycle club too. I'm all for joining clubs. I used to be a Boy Scout. I was in the military. I believe in sharpening my character off of other people. I like meeting other guys and seeing what's good about them and try to emulate it, right? I mean, that's how I became Jewish. By a simple fact that I wasn't born Jewish, I had to look outside my little club and say, that's who I want to be like. And I'll take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and make a cholent of an amazing character, right? Mm-hmm. With this notion that we owe anything for a pedigree or be loyal to who you are. This is why it's hard to point your finger.
Just be loyal to Hashem.
Yeah, I know that sounds so simplistic. That ultimately doesn't help anything.
That's the work that we have to do. That's what we have. That's the hard work that you have to strive to do every
You have to
day.
strive to be a good person. You have to fall in love with goodness and realize that, you know what? This religion is a greater ethical outlet than every other religion. But the day I find out it's not, then I'll join another religion. That's it. My commitment
you said you didn't
is to morality.
Hinduism yet.
Huh?
You said you didn't explore Hinduism yet, and if you go to India,
oh, for sure. Here, look, life is too short. Life is too short to explore every belief system, and all this should really be done when you're younger. But I explored enough. And I'm pretty sure that being that I dialogue with more.
Should I keep exploring, or should I stick with Judaism?
Okay, so count on Ashemeza. Being that Ashemeza talks to so many people from different belief systems and publicizes it, I'm doing the hard work for you. Okay, God willing, one day I'll discuss with Yaron Reuven, and I'll take his students away, and on and on. There's people doing the hard work.
A lot more students. Alone and Nava.
Okay, so he's welcome also. Joining an organization, and it's interesting, the Proud Boys also claim that their values come from the Bible. They elevate the Bible, biblical ethics, and fatherhood. It's
more women. You keep talking about male organizations. More women are neurotic than men. So is there equivalent? No, I'm serious. Are there equivalent?
I could only speak for men.
The Ku Klux Klan.
Of course, there's the Order of the Eastern Star for women. That's the female fraternity of Freemasonry.
I mean, men could also be part of the Order of the Eastern Star as well.
Islam elevates the Bible. The Ku Klux Klan elevates the Bible. It all depends on how they use it. You know?
No, this is why I said that if you come to religion with crappy values, your religion is going to look crappy. This is why I say that the reason I believe in God is because of the Torah, right? I don't believe in Torah because of God. In other words, everyone is born with the basic sense of morality. We're weighing things out. We're trying to find the proper path. So the Bible, just like Masonry, is not there to make you good, but ultimately there to make you better. Right? The war is still within you. There's no sort of like, I don't have to struggle because all the answers are in the Bible. That's the same response a Muslim would say with the Quran. That means that by definition, we would never improve. All right, new topic, guys. Enough of this. Nimrod worship, masonry.
Courtney, is the Mishnah binding?
FBI.